"Where did your grandfather hide the treasure?" Phil shouted, locking Marlene in the barn. That phrase echoed in the girl's mind, a question that contained all the desperation and madness of her stepfather. If you like compelling and emotional stories, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single one. Good vision. Marlene was a young girl of 12, with disheveled brown hair and large, curious eyes, growing up in a quiet, picturesque rural town in the heart of Missouri. The days passed slowly among the golden wheat fields and vineyards, and her life was marked by her grandfather's fascinating stories and carefree laughter with Charlie, her inseparable childhood friend. Their friendship was a strong and unbreakable bond, built through games and shared secrets. Lawrence was an old man, but still full of life and wisdom. His figure was that of a patriarch, respected by everyone in the village. It was he who kept the great secret of the hidden treasure, a treasure he had sworn to protect until his death. One day, he took Marlene by the hand and led her to the basement, a place that had always been shrouded in mystery for her. "What's in here, Grandpa?" the young woman asked, her voice trembling with fear and curiosity. Lawrence pointed to a yellow stain on the wall and whispered in her ear, "Something very precious is hidden here. Don't tell anyone about it." Time passed and life in the small town continued with ups and downs. Juliet, Marlene's mother, was a strong woman, but marked by the loss of her husband. The death of her man had tested not only the woman, but also her relationships with her family members, including the relationship with her beloved daughter. She often wore a black mourning veil, a symbol of her inconsolable sadness. Phil, a man she had met during the mourning period, became more and more present in their lives. At first he seemed like a friend, a support for Juliet, but with time, his true nature emerged. He was a cruel and opportunistic man, attracted by the idea of finding hidden treasure. When Marlene's mother suddenly died due to a serious illness, the young girl's world collapsed. She felt alone and vulnerable, like a boat adrift in a stormy sea. The house, once full of love and laughter, became cold and silent, and Marlene found herself having to face the pitfalls of life without the affection and support of her beloved mother. Phil, now her stepfather, began to show his true colors. There had been rumors in town about him, but the young woman had not been influenced by those rumors, believing they were just gossip. He became violent and obsessive, convinced that the girl knew the secret of the treasure. One day, he locked her in the barn, trying to force her to reveal the hiding place. I don't know anything," Marlene shouted, tears streaming down her face. But Phil didn't stop. His thirst for wealth made him blind to everything. Her life had become a nightmare. Every day in the barn was torture, a time of fear and desperation. But she wasn't alone. Argo, her faithful dog, managed to enter the barn through a small hole in the wall. His presence was a comfort to the young girl, a light amidst the darkness. Argo kept her company and reassured her, giving her the strength to carry on. Meanwhile, Charlie, who had always been Marlene's best friend, returned to the village for the summer holidays. Noticing her friend's absence and hearing strange stories from the villagers, he decided to investigate. One day he approached her house and heard her voice coming from the barn. "Marlene, are you there?" the boy asked, his voice full of concern. Marlene replied, hope returning to her voice, "Charlie, I'm here. Help me." The young man wasted no time. With all his strength, he managed to open the barn door and free her. "We have to go to Grandfather's house," Marlene said, her voice determined. "The treasure is there. We have to find it before Phil." Together, they ran towards the old house, their hearts pounding in their chests. With their hearts pounding and their hands shaking with emotion and fear, the two boys entered the dusty basement of the old house. The air was cold and damp, and shadows danced on the cobweb-covered walls. The macabre appearance of that basement had frightened the two boys quite a bit, and despite everything, they were not willing to give up their beloved treasure. Marlene took courage and grabbed the old rusty hammer that her grandfather Lawrence had used many years before. Each blow against the yellow stain on the wall was a tribute to his beloved grandfather and a step towards freedom. After a few blows delivered with great determination and anger, the clay barrier broke, revealing a small, hidden compartment. If you like the story, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Inside, they found gold chains, rings, pendants, and a tiara adorned with precious stones. It was the treasure her grandfather had told her about. The young woman wrapped the treasure in a bundle and hid it under her shirt. When they came out of the basement, they saw that Phil was returning. But Charlie had already called the police. "Your stepfather will never be able to escape again," the boy said with a reassuring smile. Marlene nodded, feeling a huge weight lift from her heart. Finally, she was free. Finally, that evil man was destined to disappear from her life, and all this thanks to that boy who had always been close to her. Phil was arrested and taken away by the police. The boys found themselves sitting together in the kitchen of the old house. "What do you plan to do now?" Charlie asked, looking Marlene in the eyes. "I want to go to medical school," Marlene replied without hesitation. "I want to become a pediatrician and help children like Grandfather helped me. Helping others, helping the little ones will be my greatest concern and will become my mission in life." That evening, the boy was preparing to return home, but before leaving, Marlene gave him one of the rings found in the treasure. "Take it," she said with a smile. "It is a symbol of our friendship and our future." Charlie, moved, gave her a kiss on the cheek, but Marlene stopped him and kissed him on the lips. It was the sign of a love that had blossomed in the midst of many difficulties. Now the two sweet teenagers knew they had a future together, a future built on trust, love, and courage. Their grandfather's treasure was not just a mass of gold and jewels, but a rising dawn, a symbol of their resilience and their determination to find happiness despite everything. And you, what would you do if you found a hidden treasure? Leave your comment and let us know your opinion.